My next guest is a man on a mission from Benin, West Africa. Many know him for his height and his talent for basketball, but I guarantee you that after today's episode, you'll know him for far more. It's fair to say that we have a mogul in the making with us today. It's going to be a good one, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. Let's Bantah. So we're here with Akim Sanni. Thank you so much for being our third guest. It's really nice to have you here. Akim is also a member of the scholarship program that I'm in, the Wien International Scholarship Program, and so is like Sahara from the first episode as well. So keeping it in the family, but there's some really cool people in the scholarship program that we just had to have on. So thank you for being here again. But you're from Benin in West Africa, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so tell us a bit about what it was like growing up in Benin and in West Africa, like the cultural differences between like here and in the US. Just what was the experience like growing up in Benin?
Thank you for inviting me. And yes, I grew up in Benin. It's very culturally different than America, obviously. Benin is way smaller. It's the second smaller country in all West Africa. Togo is the first one. And it's a French-speaking country, first of all. So we have been colonized by France in the past. We had an independence in 1960. So we still have very hugely impacted by like French culture in Benin. So the French mentality, like the humor, everything is kind of like very French-like. But I grew up with. I have like my mom is from the east side of northern of Benin. My dad is from the west side, northern of Benin, and I grew up in the south.
Oh, okay.
So
it's from all over.
It's all over. So I had to learn 3 different languages off the bat growing up, plus French. That's 4 then. That's another cultural adjustment I had to do. Me and my sisters, and yeah, it's very culturally different. The community basically raise a child like, if you don't have enough salt, you can go to your neighbor, get
like,
salt.
Hey, can I get some salt?
Exactly. So it's not like here where everything is individualized, and you can there's more community based, eating in the same dish type of deal, like. And the food is completely different. There's nothing I can compare it to here. So
yeah, I feel that like, I think it's the same way in like Jamaica as well. Like, you know, where the community like you know the saying where it says like it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, it's pretty much the same way in Jamaica as well. Like you grew up with like, you know, people who you live to next door like telling you what to do, and you're like, you're not my dad. Like, what are you doing? But that's just like the culture there. So yeah, I definitely relate to that. So what would you say is like some of your favorite things about like Benin or just the culture there?
Favorite things? First thing that comes in mind is food. I love food. So growing up, my mom used to like made this dish. It's called like it's kind of like fufu, but it's not fufu. It's like pounded yams.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And in French, it's called yam pile. So that's a very big thing. And the culture, just being able to rely on somebody, you know, like being able to rely to your neighbor. And I grew up with the sense of not being different.
Yeah.
Where most of my sisters are actually mixed. So the mom is my stepsisters, like mixed, and we all grew up in this environment of like being similar, and we didn't really felt the difference until I came here, and then I started seeing it in a different way, how like everything is different.
Yeah, I feel that. So on that note, you came to the U.S. when you were around 16 or so, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so tell us a bit more about that moment. What was it like leaving Benin, leaving everything that you know, you knew, your culture, your family, and like making the transition to the U.S.?
Yeah. So it was a huge risk taking, and before leaving, it was a choice because in Benin we have our athletic department and academic department don't match. So you can merge both.
Yeah, so it's like you choose
You
either to
choose.
like do school or play sports.
Exactly, that's correct. So, and the United States gave me the opportunity to like pursue my academic passion with my athletic passion. So I was able to merge both, and I will have way much time in hand to be able to do to achieve that. And people like there's actually sponsors that will allow you to do that by like helping you financially, where those doesn't exist back home. Your parents have to pay for education. There is no public program to help you through that type of thing.
Yeah, so you'd say that was like a big motivation for you leaving Benin and like coming to the US, just that opportunity to, you know, do both your passions, like school and sports.
And sport.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So did you speak any English when
Oh my
you moved to the US at 16?
No.
So what was that like?
Back home, English was my worst class. All I knew was okay, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah, the basics.
Yes. And then when I came to at the airport, I couldn't even say where's the door. I just couldn't interact with anybody. But I just used the sign language. I learned how to read people's faces, like how to be observant and how. So that was like a huge like culture shock at first, and then the beauty of internet.
Yeah.
Google helped a lot to translate everything. My first assignment actually in the United States and my high prep school where I went to was to write an essay about how your summer went, and all I wrote on the paper was okay.
It was like it was good. It
Yes,
was okay.
yes. And I remember my teacher telling me, "You actually have to write a whole page." I'm like, "You expect me to write a page in English or in French?" She said, "In English. What you mean?" And then I wrote everything in French, translated in English. Obviously, it didn't make sense, but that was a fun moment at the time. So, hey guys, we are gonna make some plastic molds, and we're gonna start with the powder version here, like which is half of a bucket, and here we also have half of a water. So we go in 50-50%. To have like a good mix.
Good mix.
Now we're gonna pour it in. Make sure you have your safety glasses
Stay
always.
straight.
That's a fun part actually, like the mixing part.
It is.
It have a very plasticky, weird texture to it.
Fun fact about plaster, you have to keep it. It requires a lot of TLC, like you have to give it a lot of attention. Because if you leave it, it will just get hard.
All right. Right now, I'm gonna ask you to make any hand sign, and we're gonna hold it in there for about like
5 minutes.
5 to 8 minutes.
5 to 8? Okay. I think I'm gonna do this. It's my hand sign. Here we go. Start
Here we
clock.
go.
5, 4,
3, 2,
1.
1, go.
Somebody tell a story. Sing a song.
Okay, so when I was a kid,
So just like thinking a bit more about like the prep school that you went to. So you're this kid, 16 years old, from Benin, playing basketball. You're at this prep school, just learning English.
Yeah.
So what was that transition like? You know, being in that type of space? Because I think you were in Maine.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
in Maine at first. So, wow, I was like the new toy. I felt like the new toy for a kid. everyone kind of like want to touch it, feel it, see what it reacts like. So people was just like masterminds, like, oh, he's from Africa. Oh my God, are you guys all tall in Africa? Like I was hearing those questions, and those were close to translating stuff for me, or what I can like translate myself later on. That's what I got out of it, and it was kind of like an adjustment, and to me it was learning American culture, where it was actually was learning the prep school culture, a teenager mindset. And to me, I was like, that's how all Americans think. Like they just want to like observe you to like the closest thing ever.
Yeah. So it's like at that moment, like you're not only, learning how to like be in America, but like the first thing that you learn about America is like, prep school culture. So
Exactly.
yeah. So I know, so if I'm not wrong, you did like the whole college application process while you were at that prep school as well.
Yes.
And I think you were playing basketball for a while, and then you ended up getting injured. And at that point that you were injured, a ton of like D1 schools, Division 1 schools were like scouting you for like college.
Yeah.
Then you got injured, and then they all started like backing out of like their offers and scholarship. Yeah. So what was that moment like, deciding to, stay here, like go to college, and then having scholarships and then having them disappear because you're injured?
Yeah. So that was a tough moment. So from back home, when you see on TV NBA players playing, the type of car they're driving kind of like push you to like want to have the same thing.
Like it's glamorous.
It's everything is so glamorous. And then I was lucky enough to be surrounded by people who helped me and who's like actually helping me to achieve, go to, I don't know, probably get to my best.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to this AAU team that was like coached by one of an NBA player's father, stepdad, Michael Carter Williams. And I kind of like follow the behind the scene of an NBA player's life.
You got to see like the real deal.
The real deal. And then it clicked to me that like your academic, it's so worth it. You like playing basketball is something temporary. Mm-hmm. Your body is temporary. Like, your physical energy is temporary, but your brain power will last forever, as far as you live. Mm-hmm. So, and then I realized that, and I started valuing my academics more. And the process that I was lucky enough to figure that out earlier. And then my grades started looking better, everything, and then the injury happened. Losing out my scholarship option, I was looking at those D1, like, oh, I want to go here. It's me D1. I'm not looking at me D1. I want to go to Kentucky. I want to go to Kansas.
Good D1s.
Good D1s. And then I realized that, like, after all, I just need an education, and I started seeing people who made it after D1 and couldn't do anything about their life, and they ended up down in the street again.
Stuck. Yeah.
And I then realized that like I want to give myself a leverage to control my life, and I'm gonna use basketball as a tool to go where I want to go, and use my education to propose me to the exact point I want to be.
Yeah, to a different point, yeah. Like I remember growing up and watching this special on TV called like Where Are They Now? Yeah. And they look at like, celebrities and like athletes and who are like, at the prime of their career at one point, and then you look at their life now and they're like, they have nothing because like their career in sports or being a celebrity ended and everything ended with it. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's definitely important, like, having the academics like back up and be a complement to like whatever you do. Exactly. But let's talk a bit more about basketball. How did you get started in basketball? Was it like a thing you're like, I'm tall, so I guess I'm gonna play basketball, or was it like your first love when it came to sports?
Oh, first love is soccer.
Soccer.
By far. By far. Every kid back home growing up, the first gift is like a soccer ball. It's bigger than your head. You carry it everywhere, kick it in. So I started playing soccer, felt like a huge passion for soccer. I got a couple offers too to go overseas play for soccer, but I was too young at the time,
Mm-hmm.
so my father didn't allow me to go there and to go into France play soccer. And then I kind of like I had a growth spurt
Yeah.
that summer. I like
Just
I,
happened.
I
like,
got like 6 inch no not inch centimeters.
That's crazy.
So like I don't know how many inches that is, but
Mhm.
so I got 6 centimeters, so like huge growth spurt and very lanky dude. And somebody just introduced me. You want to play basketball someday? I'm like, what is that? That's rich kid sport because I see you have to wear Jordans, you
Yeah.
have to buy socks. It's crazy. Socks is very expensive back then, but you have to buy socks, jerseys, everything basketball related is very expensive. And he said, no, I will give you basketball shoes and a jersey. Just come try out. And I went, he showed me 2 moves, just like how to do a hook shot and how to shoot properly. And I just mastered those 2 moves. And that brought me so far and to where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah.
And after I started perfecting what he was teaching me, and I got invited to like the Giant of Africa in West Africa. Like it was run by like the Toronto Raptors, one of the coaches. So I was one of the top 5 like MVP, top 5 MVP players. And then they start talking to me about thinking about going overseas
Coming
and
abroad, yeah.
coming abroad and playing basketball. It's like I haven't really considered it. They offer a camp that happens once a year. They like bring a bunch of like West African kids to try out like AAU, play and get recruited by prep schools and then stay here. But I couldn't afford paying for the plane ticket to come, so I just put my my hoop videos on YouTube and sent it to a bunch of schools randomly, and I got contacted by like probably 6 of them.
No.
So I was lucky enough, and I had a scholarship, and I came, and here I am today.
No, you're here. So
Yeah.
from going to the camps to just like posting the video on YouTube,
Yep.
being at the prep school, and now you're here at Brandeis playing for the Judges. But as a student athlete, you know, like student comes before athlete, of course, but those are just like 2 things, like being a student and an athlete. How do you go about balancing everything else that you do, you know, like working and like having a social and personal life? How do you find that balance as a student athlete?
As a student athlete, you need to love both. That's a demeanor. Like, if you love the sport and you love your academic and you value both equally, you'll find a way to make it work. That's the basics. Like, it's very hard to say there's a specific path because it's different for every single person. Some people are really good at like doing their work at the last minute.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's not you.
It's not me. It takes me. It's probably gonna take a regular student 2 hours to write a 2-page essay. Me, it would take me 2 to 3 days because first of all, it's not my first language.
Yeah.
So you need to like kind of like work into your schedule a way to balance everything, knowing your own individual skill. So you need to have a good understanding of like how you function yourself first before you now work a schedule around it. That's
Yeah. It's important to like finding that balance.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I've heard you and some of your friends refer, I guess, to your college journey and college experience as a mission, right? So tell me a bit more about what this phrase means to you and like how it has like shaped your college experience so far.
Yeah, I'm definitely on a mission because I can tell you a little story about my like shopping on my way here to America. First of all, so I went with my sister and my mom to go shopping for clothing and stuff to come here, be ready for prep school, and then my sister just stopped like randomly to like this like where I bought this necklace. And she said, you know where you're going, you're not only representing your name anymore, right? You're representing us and you're representing a whole continent. And that stuck with me this whole time, and it's still driving me so hard, because it is true. Because when they talk to me, like when I say that, is mostly American people. When American people interact with me, they refer to me as an African. They don't even refer to me as Akim or as a Sanni, because back home I'm a Sanni, which is the fifth son. So I'm the first son of this fifth son.
Right.
So, but here I'm an African. So it's more than, it's just more than a name. It's more than.
Yeah, it's bigger than you.
It's bigger than me. So I took that very personally, because whatever I'm doing here right now, I'm not doing only for me, because I'm representing a whole continent. So I have the whole continent on my back. So I'm doing for them. And my mother also mentioned something. She was like, "Oh, I know he can do it. He's gonna fly over all his obstacles, and he's gonna like rise from the ashes," and which resonated a lot with a phoenix.
Right.
And I love that symbol, and I had it engraved on me. I had a necklace that I lost, unfortunately, and I just like had a tattoo on my chest, close to my heart.
The
and
phoenix.
Yeah, every time I wake up, I look at myself in the mirror. I know what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's good. So we've established that basketball isn't the be-all, end-all for you. It's just a journey, a tool to get, you know, to where you need to. It's your passion, but you have bigger plans and bigger dreams. And I have like no doubt that, you know, you'll get there and you're gonna do great things. But what would you say are your aspirations and plans for after Brandeis, or what are some of the things that you hope to achieve even before you graduate? Like, what's the plan for Akim?
The plan for Akim, you know, if there is a plan is really easy to shut down. But I would say it's a web. So I have multiple bases and I have multiple strings. So I will be more stable whenever there's a fall. It's kind of my conception of like my plan. So first of all, one of my strings is impact as many people as possible. Teach and try and like bring down all the stereotypes. For an example, do you have lines in your background? No. We have to have like city that look nicer than Worcester, for an example, here. So there's so many, like I'm very open into like the business area, into learning about art, into learning about engineering. I've tried it all. I find there's always a connection with me, and I think it's more than it's more aware that it's straight path, because the straight path would be very easy to shut down.
So as an international student, you do so much. You've had like a ton of experiences that has really shaped your character and like who you are as a person. But one of those very key and critical experiences happened when you were just 8 years old and you got lost in the woods. And I can't even start to imagine how you felt, but tell us a bit more about that experience, getting lost in the woods at 8, and how it really shaped your life moving forward.
So imagine being like, first of all, a crazy 8-year-old, and then I kind of blackmailed my cousin. I was like, okay, I need to go hunting with you, otherwise I would tell on you. And he took me, and I ended up getting lost in the woods for a solid week, a week and a half.
A week and a half, lost in the woods.
So the first night, my challenge was to like create somewhere I can sleep, actually, in a safe space. And I found a tree, and that night, it was the night where my vision of the world completely changed. Because you sleep basically well, like you're relaxing, you just like fearing about like what I'm gonna eat next. You're not even thinking about being lost anymore. And you wake up with a snake on your chest. So
hold on. you woke up.
Yeah.
After like a whole night of like finally letting your guard down and like having a feeling of safety, you woke up and there's a snake on your chest. All right.
All right. So now those 5 or 10 seconds felt like 3 years for me.
Yeah.
Because you wake up First of all, you want to control your heart rate not to go up. I don't even know how I did this, to be honest. It was just a natural reaction. I started remembering what all the old folks from the village, like when we go for histories and stuff, like telling
what they
us.
would tell you.
Yeah. So something just react. I was like, oh, you see something, don't panic. Just look at it and just make one sharp move and take it out away from you, which is what I did. And I then started looking at the world differently. I started realizing how valuable my life is, because sometimes growing up you don't really realize that like your life can be gone like this. So everything that was surrounding me, I started like stopping, slowing myself down and look at it up close. And that's how I started like observing animals. I started observing the nature that was surrounding me. And I started being one with the nature instead of me being part of the nature.
Well, I guess in addition to athlete, polyglot, and all these things, you can add animal whisperer to the list. All right. Many people know you for, being this great basketball player, especially here at Brandeis, and you do a really good job at that. But many people don't know that you're also a really great artist.
In my opinion, everything that's around us is art. My art is just basically like a capture of like one specific environment, and then just a little bit a use of my imagination to transform it to something that most human are familiar with seeing. Imagine let's say you were an alien. You went to another planet where you know nothing about iPhones, nothing about like watches or anything, and then you look at it from a different aspect. That's basically art.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I fell in love with art, and it's for me like it's a way to escape kind of like reality, because of like the pressure of like I have this next test, I have this next paper to submit. For me, it's just like a way to like relax, escape.
Yeah. Just focus on something else.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by, is that a dragon?
Big fan of Game of Thrones. So in class, like our professor was asking us to create something with clay. And as I was going, the roughness of the clay kind of like remind me of the roughness of a dragon.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's rough. Okay, I can use that and apply my imagination to it. And I call it Shikarisis.
Nice.
Like Shikar
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing all that you would do and to bear witness, and I'm just really glad and appreciative that you took the time to be here today. So thank you, man on a mission.
Thank you.